how's it going, guys? Ada here. Welcome back to another video. Today, I am finally going to start my ranking every single Nickelodeon show from the 90s. So I decided I'm actually going to break it up into separate segments. So I'm going to do all the Nicktoons and all the game shows, and then like Nick Jr., then live action, because you can't really compare like a Nick Jr. show to like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like it doesn't work that way. So it just wouldn't make sense. It makes more sense to, just break it up. So today we are going to rank every single 90s Nicktoon. Now, I know I'm probably going to get some comments like, hey, where's such and such show? Like, I'm blanking on shows. Jimmy Neutron or Fairly Odd Parents or, something like that. Unfortunately, those did not air in the 90s. So it had to have aired in the 90s. Some of them kind of did, but we'll get into that in a second. But without further ado, let's just jump into this ranking video.
Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon.
Starting with the very first Nicktoon that aired officially, and that's gonna be Doug. Doug is absolutely amazing. I love it. The theme song is great. It has a unique art style to it. The character designs are really good. And overall, the story's pretty cool. Also, you got Quail Man, which is cool. It's a little made-up superhero. You got the Beats. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. They're kind of like the Beatles. And Doug has his own band. It's just a really good cartoon. And this one, I'm going to rank an S. To make sure that's what I ranked it. Coming in at number 2, we have Rugrats, which is the second Nicktoon to ever air, which is pretty cool. So it was actually Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy were the first 3 Nicktoons to actually air on Nickelodeon, which is pretty dope. But Rugrats, it's a show that it seems like it should be made for, like, babies. I mean, if the show's about babies. But there's a lot more depth to it. And there's actually a lot of, like, good, like, hidden, like, innuendos. So, watching it as an adult now, I'm like, oh, like, you pick up on jokes and just things that are said, and you're like, oh, that's actually really funny. And it's great. Like, the theme song is just a classic, and just the art style is great as well. This one also gets an S. Coming in at number 3, we have Ren and Stimpy. This show, just kind of like I was allowed to watch it, but my parents were like, we would prefer if you didn't. It was just kind of like that gross out, which I'm not the biggest fan of, like, gross out cartoons and gross out humor. Like, if it's done right, it's okay. And Ren and Stimpy does it just right. At least the Nickelodeon version does. It's just like that borderline, like, oh, that's really gross, but funny. It doesn't push that boundary too far, like Mega Babies or something like that. But it's super good. This one, again, I'm not the biggest fan of gross out, so I had to kick it down a little bit. Also, the theme song, pretty great, pretty catchy, pretty groovy. Ren and Stimpy, I'm gonna give an A. Coming in at number 4, we have Rocko's Modern Life. This one, absolutely fantastic. Also, there's a new movie for it too. It's not new, it came out a couple years ago. But the movie is great. Static Cling, I'm pretty sure is what it's called. Fantastic. But the show itself, it's super good. It kind of leans more towards, like, weird, gross out, more adult type humor. Like, watching it back again as an adult, it's just like, wow, there's how this wouldn't be a kid's cartoon if it was made today. Like, there's the Choky Chicken. There's an episode where it says hell. There's an episode where Heifer goes to hell. Or heck, sorry. There's just some crazy things that happen. Rocko was a sex phone worker. That's cool. You go, Rocko. But this show is absolutely hilarious. The art style is great. Unique character designs, which is always a plus. And the theme songs, yes, 2. There's 2 different versions. There's, I think, one that did season 1 and 2. I might be wrong about that. But then it changed to, like, a different band. They're both great. They're both classics. This show, Rocko's Modern Life, you get an S. Coming in at number 5, we have Ahhh, Real Monsters. This show I actually really liked as a kid. One of my fondest memories of it was when I was living in New Jersey. I got like a little flip book. So it's the books that you like flip it and like it's kind of like stop motion. I got one of those from a cereal box, and I was like, oh, it's really cool. And like I was watching the show too. It was great. So this one, it's not as good compared to all the other Nicktoons. It's still really good. It's still definitely worth watching. Theme song's good. If you like kind of like creepy-ish shows, like Beetlejuice is kind of like in that same vein. But it's super good. What did I give it? That's a good question. Ahhh, Real Monsters, I gave a B. Coming in at number 6, we have Hey Arnold. You guys already know how much I love Hey Arnold. For one, Stoop Kid, hello. Stoop Kid's afraid to leave his stoop. Excellent episode. This show, again, I've talked about it in my top 5 favorite Nicktoons of all time. It just has so much heart, so much like character to it, and it's very well written. It tackles a lot of like serious stuff, but it's also like relatable to kids. I think that's what I liked about it the most. Watching it was just kind of how relatable it was. And again, theme song, fantastic. I love it. And just the music in this show, mind-blowing. The music's so good that they released it like a year or so ago. Close to a year ago on vinyl, and I bought it. And I absolutely love it. I'll link the soundtrack down below. I'm pretty sure there's either a playlist or it's the full soundtrack. It's so good, but the characters are great. Hey Arnold, if you know me, you already know it's going to be an S. Coming in at number 7, we have a very unique show. And that's going to be Kablam. So Kablam is like a variety show, but it's cartoon mixed with live action figures. Like Action League Now. It's just a really unique concept. The theme song's pretty good. But overall, this show, it just had a lot of really good segments. I guess you can kind of compare it to like Animaniacs, where it's the main characters aren't really the main characters. They're more just like the hosts. It's kind of like Animaniacs, and it has like separate segments. So it's kind of comparable to that, just with the Nickelodeon twist. And it's super good, super underrated. I wish it was on streaming services, but there was one show on it, Angela Anaconda. Not that great. It's probably my least favorite, so that kind of bumped it down. But Kablam is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it, find a way to watch it. I'm going to give Kablam an A. At number 8, we have the Angry Beavers. This show, I definitely think doesn't really get the credit it deserves. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. For one, it's great. The theme song, 10 out of 10. I love it. But the show itself is just really good. Again, Nickelodeon just had this way of connecting with kids. Now, this isn't like the level of connection you get with like Hey Arnold. This is more so like Rocko's Modern Life. It just kind of has that type of humor to it, which is great. It doesn't really have like a crazy amount of like gross out stuff like Ren and Stimpy or even Rocko's Modern Life. But it's great. Like, I absolutely love it. It's one of those shows that really, when I was in high school, kind of got me into this like nostalgia kick. I'm like, man, I used to love this show. And I actually had the theme song as one of my MySpace songs. So, oh God, I'm choking up here. Getting so emotional. So stupid. But the Angry Beavers, if you've never seen it, I don't know where it's streaming. But definitely check it out. You'll most likely enjoy it. I definitely do. But again, it's not perfect. It's not on the level of like Hey Arnold or Doug or Rugrats, but I'm gonna give it an A. Next up, we have Catdog. This, again, was a unique concept. Kind of has a little gross out. That was like the style of like 90s cartoons for the most part. They're superheroes or just stuff like this. But Catdog, funny story, my stepmom at one point was just like, for like a week or two, like, I don't want you guys watching this show. I don't want you guys watching it. And we were like, it's not even bad. It's not like it was South Park. But theme song, again, super, super solid. I'm getting a phone call. But yeah, it's just a really good, unique show. It's not perfect. Some of the episodes are kind of repetitive. Some of the characters, mainly Cat, I don't really find Cat very likable. But it has a good balance between Cat being kind of a prick and Dog just being super dumb and goofy but lovable. It's good. It's solid. Like, very solid. I'm gonna give Catdog an A. Next up, we have Oh Yeah Cartoons, which are probably like, I've never heard of that. Wouldn't be surprised. So, Oh Yeah Cartoons was a way for animators to basically like pitch their ideas to Nickelodeon. So this is actually where you can see some early, I'm pretty sure I've seen early SpongeBob on here. I've definitely seen Fairly Odd Parents, Chalk Zone. You just get these little segments of like, hey, here's a cartoon. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn into a real cartoon. And I want to say Kenan Thompson actually hosted the show, which is pretty cool. But this one, again, is kind of responsible for some of the popular ones that you see down the road. So, like I said, Fairly Odd Parents, I remember seeing that on this before it was actually its own show, which is really cool. And same with Chalk Zone. I remember seeing it on Oh Yeah Cartoons, and then it became its own show. So it was a really unique way just to see, just independent animators. It wasn't like perfect. Not everything was good, but it's still worthy of a B. Next up, we had the Wild Thornberrys, which I really enjoyed. no surprise there. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the concept. I want to say, I might be wrong. It has the same animation style as like Rocket Power and As Told by Ginger. I'm pretty sure it's made by like the same people and Real Monsters. I'm pretty sure they made all of these shows. At least the animators did. I might be totally wrong. But just the concept of this girl gets magical powers to talk to animals. And it's really just like, hey, Earth positive, like, we have to protect animals. Not always. Sometimes it's just an adventure, but it just made you want to, like, go out and be in nature and try to talk to animals, which I've totally tried doing. Yeah, it was just that era of the 90s where there's a lot of, like, pro-animal, pro-earth, hey, let's protect our planet content, and this was definitely in that. Like, obviously had, Crocodile Hunter, stuff like that. And yeah, this show fit in very well. It's a very well animated show. It's not perfect. It's not, like, mind-blowing amazing. If it's your favorite show, though, I totally get it. Or favorite cartoon, at least. I totally get it. Is it mine? No, I would say no. But what I liked the most about it was actually a game on the Nickelodeon website where you just... What did you even do? It was like a farm. It wasn't really a farm, but you basically just took care of like animals and stuff like that. It was really fun. But the Wild Thornberrys is great. It's great. Tim Curry's in it too, which I absolutely love Tim Curry. But the Wild Thornberrys gets an A. Next up, we have probably the most famous Nicktoon of the 90s, and that's SpongeBob. SpongeBob, especially the first like couple seasons, just perfection. Like, you really can't... Like, I get it, SpongeBob is like annoying, but just the comedy, it's hilarious. Like, that's why like, it's still, you can quote like early SpongeBob like to this day. And SpongeBob is still running, which is crazy. The longest running Nicktoon, and it's absolutely just fantastic. Like I said, those first couple seasons to like the mid 2000s, in my eyes, are perfection. It's just as good as like early like Family Guy. Like it's that good. Sailor Mouth, one of my favorite episodes. Oh man, there's the one Brit Pants, classic. There's just so many good episodes. I can't really think of all the names, but this is absolutely 100% worth an S. Like it's S tier. If you're like, no, this show's trash, rewatch the first like 3 or 4 seasons. It'll change your mind. And finally, last but not least, we have one of my favorites. It was in my top 5. It's in my top 5 for a reason, and that's gonna be Rocket Power. It's not the most amazing show, but I was really big into action sports like skateboarding, BMX, inline skating, rollerblading, all that stuff. And this show just catered to that. It was ridiculous. Some of the skateboarding made absolutely no sense. The art style is not bad. Theme song, top notch. It's just a great show. I love it. I get why people are just like, this show's trash. I get it. I've seen it on like the worst cartoons list. I wouldn't go that far. There's a lot of really god-awful cartoons out there. But Rocket Power, I love it. I'm going to give it an A.
Nickelodeon.
Well, that's going to do it for this first episode of me ranking every single 90s Nickelodeon show. Let me know in the comments down below, what would you rank these? I'll have them listed in the description, so if you want to just copy and paste them, rank them yourself, go ahead and do that. With that being said, you guys rock, stay rad, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.